This year, they've also been joined by Sir Elton John, who's been campaigning for more than 20 years to give physical and emotional help to people living with HIV and AIDS. The Elton John AIDS Foundation is now one of the biggest in the world, and Elton John has also just written a book called Love is the Cure, about his own experiences, proceeds going to the foundation. When he spoke to leaders, he received a standing ovation, and Sir Elton joins us now live from a Senate building in Washington, D.C. Sir Elton, thank you very much indeed for being with us. Looking at what's being discussed at this AIDS summit, the interesting thing is people are saying medically they think the end is in sight as far as eliminating AIDS. Do you agree with that?
I think it is, Adam. I think we have the light at the end of the tunnel. What we mustn't do now, while we have this disease by the scruff of the neck, is take our foot off the gas. I'm here in the Congress this morning to lobby for more money for the AIDS epidemic. I was here 10 years ago lobbying. I'm back again 10 years later. We haven't seen any increase in funding since 2009. And we just want to make sure that the American government, who's done so much to help with the AIDS epidemic, realizes that if they stop funding now, we could lose this momentum that we've picked up. And if we invest in the future now, it'll save a lot of money in later.
Hillary Clinton, actually, I think she's announced, hasn't she, 150 million extra in terms of aid spending, particularly for Africa. Are you saying you don't think that's quite enough?
Not quite, no. We need more money than that. And that's why we're here to lobby. We've got congressmen from all sides. We've got senators from all sides. We have the church representatives here. We have four former heads of state here to try and impress on the Americans that we've come so far so quickly that if we take our foot off the gas now, it'll be a real loss of momentum. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can squeeze some more money out of them, basically.
Yeah, and the dimension which you've been particularly talking about, I mean, it's summarized in this word, love. Love is the cure. And you're arguing that really dealing with AIDS has to go beyond the medicine, if you like, the physical treatment.
Well, the medicine is working, we know that. Getting it to people is really important. But what I found after 20 years in going and visiting our projects and being involved in the AIDS epidemic is that stigma is still an awful barrier that we haven't eliminated. And I know that sometimes, especially in Britain, the word love gets up people's noses. So I said yesterday, well, listen, use empathy, compassion, whatever. But we need to treat people with dignity. We need people to not feel marginalized by this disease. We need to make sure that people don't feel ashamed anymore. They are. It's still a shame-based disease. It's been so from day one, 31 years ago. And what we have to do now is bring those people into the fold. And we need dialogue between everybody to make sure these people don't go under the carpet per se and feel it's okay to be HIV. It's a very treatable disease, but it's a shame-based disease because it's originally a sexually transmitted disease. So we have that stigma to overcome. And I spoke yesterday. I can't really do a speech on funding or research. I went for the human angle because the human angle is really, really important, not just in America, but other places as well. I've seen it firsthand.
It's difficult, though, to overcome this stigma, as you say, because there are parts of the world still where there are laws against gay people. There's certainly a lot of countries where there are laws against intravenous drug users, and even in some countries, restrictions on people who are HIV positive.
I know. I was at a dinner last night for the Secretary of State, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and we were discussing those issues. And we're making progress in some of those places. I was in Ukraine 2 weeks ago, and they were going to introduce a bill outlawing mentioning homosexuality or even, speaking its name. They shelved that bill after I said something from the stage. So we have the Human Rights Campaign on our side, and it is, it looks an uphill task, but you have to be optimistic in these situations. You have to feel that the domino effect can happen, and that people will change their attitudes, and that's what we're hoping for.
It's also involved quite a lot of change of attitude of people such as yourself, prominent figures in show business who have started talking about their own experiences. I mean, one gets a sense, look at your book, although you've lost many friends to AIDS, that you almost personally feel this is a bullet which you've managed to dodge personally.
Yeah, I was extremely lucky. I mean, in the 1980s especially, I was a huge drug consumer and alcohol, and I put myself in positions where I didn't know what I was doing, because, you know, once you take one drink and you have one line of cocaine, your attitude and your focus changes completely. I did come out HIV negative, which is a miracle, and so I put the rest of my life really is based on now, you know, making up for lost time and wasting all those years. And I look back at it as a terrible waste. Addiction is such a horrible thing. We've seen that with the rousing situation over the last 2 or 3 weeks in London. It is a really desperate abyss to sink into. I sank into the abyss, not quite as badly, but it was a hell of an abyss to climb out of. And luckily I survived, and my priorities in life now are trying to help those people that I didn't help when I was being completely self-absorbed and taking drugs.
And the boy who unfortunately died, Ryan White from Indiana, who got AIDS through a blood transfusion, I mean, he really was an inspiration for you.
Without him or his family, his mother, Jeannie, and his sister, Andrea, I would really never have gotten sober, I don't think. They showed me what my life could be like if I had the decency to clean my act up. They were the template, as it were, for my recovery. I owe them such a lot, and that's why they're featured in the book so much. They were just a normal family with normal values, and I didn't have those values anymore when I was doing the sort of things that I was doing. So I used them as the template to get my life back on track. I saw Jeannie yesterday, we're huge friends. I don't know, Ryan was kind of put into my life for a reason, and the reason was to show me how badly I was behaving and what a waste of time I was.
I just want to ask you about one aspect of treatment which is becoming quite controversial. I see Hillary Clinton put aside $40 million for that yesterday. This is this question of circumcision, voluntary circumcision of men. Where do you stand on that? Because I know some people involved with AIDS think that this really is an intrusion too far.
I don't know. I'm not circumcised, so I really can't talk about it. So I think personally it's a personal decision. I think in Germany they passed a law, didn't they, saying that circumcision was wrong, or they've talked about it. I don't really have any views either way on it, I have to be honest with you. I'm glad I have a foreskin, basically.
No time to ask you about the Olympics, because I know that's still top secret, but you'll be back in time for the opening, will you?
I'm not actually. I'm going back to France to be with my little boy, but we're watching it avidly on television. I can't wait for them to start, and I think it's going to be a huge success for the British athletes. Cannot wait, and let's hope the weather stays like it is now.
Sir Elton John, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I hope it's good weather in Washington too.